Welcome to the jungle, everyone. I'm Kyle Phelps, and football season is almost back. It's the most exciting time of the year for everyone, even Bears fans, because all of the good outcomes are still on the table for you. Now, as a Bengals fan in the Joe Burrow era, I'm convinced that every year is the year that we finally put it all together and win the Super Bowl, and you can't prove me wrong in August. First, though, we have to figure out who's even going to be on the team when the 53-man rosters are finalized here in a few days. From what I've seen so far, I think that I have a pretty good idea of what they're going to do. Maybe slightly less sure on a few players, but I mean, that's what makes videos like this fun, predicting and then kind of seeing what happens afterwards. Anyway, before we dive in, I appreciate that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. It's another year and another chance to make myself look like a fool on YouTube. Let's go! So first of all, there's still one preseason game left to go, so I think that the offensive roster battles are a good place to start, because I pretty much think that we all kind of know what's going to happen at this point anyway. Obviously, anything could change because there's still one preseason game left to go, but I feel pretty comfortable doing this now, and then we'll do the defensive video after the Colts game comes out, right? I just want to go ahead and get the obvious roster spots out of the way first. So, at quarterback, obviously Joe Burrow's QB1, Jake Browning's QB2, and that's it. Jake Browning hasn't been playing because he's been hurt, but I don't think that there's going to be any chance for any of these other guys to unseat him at this point. And we did see a few flashes from Logan Woodside in the preseason, and some issues as well. I would have loved to see Gen Z Boomer Esiason, Rocky Lombardi, have made it work, but either way, with either of them, I don't think there was ever any path to unseating Browning after he valiantly filled in for Joe Burrow last season and almost led the Bengals to the playoffs. Most of the other starting positions on offense aren't really debates either. You got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, they're the starting wide receivers, right? Orlando Brown Jr. at left tackle, Cordell Volson left guard, Ted Karras at center, Alex Kappa right guard, and Mike Gesicki at tight end. Those guys are all virtual locks. It's a little more questionable at right tackle, but if I had to guess, it's probably going to be Trent Brown starting there at first, just because Mims is a rookie, and you don't want to throw him into the fire right away. But Mims has been impressive so far, so that might not be the case for very long. I do think Trent Brown starts, but I don't know how long that's going to be for. Then at running back, I'd place my bets on Zach Moss, since he's more experienced than Chase Brown, and he's generally been getting the benefit of being kept fresh this offseason. But I wouldn't be shocked to see Brown become the main running back either, just because the Bengals know him better. So that's only 10 starters, and there's 11 starters that you need to have, right? It could be another running back, an extra blocking tight end, a wide receiver. I'm guessing it's probably going to be a wide receiver, though, with that first starting depth chart, which makes it kind of tough because Andre Iosivas and Jermaine Burton have both flashed pretty strongly this preseason. And given Burton's lack of experience, I think they'll go with Yoshi just to maximize preparedness for week 1. Perhaps they'll start Jamar in the slot or something like that, because I don't really think Jermaine Burton, the way the Bengals have been using them, I don't think Burton and Yoshi are expected to be slot guys. But who knows? Maybe Chad Johnson's right and Jamar won't play at all until he gets a new contract, and maybe that takes a while. So you could see both Yoshi and Jermaine Burton starting. Now, in my opinion, the most fun part of these battles is the back of the roster guys. I get that those guys are on the periphery for most people, though, so for the sake of time, we're just going to kind of speed through them. I'll put a list of cuts to, my left here, or, well, my right, your left, but either way, I think the Bengals only keep 6 receivers. So Trent Irwin and Charlie Jones, they're going to, naturally win those last 2 spots. Running back is pretty easy with Chris Evans on IR. It'll be Zach Moss, Chase Brown, and almost certainly Travion Williams in that 3rd spot. Although, I think Noah Cain's looked pretty good. So I hope he's brought back at least to the practice squad. I would go as far as to say that if I were making the decisions, that I'd actually tap Cain over Williams for that extra backfield dynamic. I don't think that's going to happen, though, because Williams plays special teams and he's more experienced. Now, other than Bengals fans, obviously, the offensive line depth isn't exactly the most riveting conversation point of all time for most people. I'll tell you, though, this year, I think there's going to be a little bit of spice to it. I'll just go ahead and lead with the headline, and I know I said this last year, but I really think it's true this year. I think the Bengals are going to cut Jackson Carman. There's been virtually zero talk this offseason about him looking better in training camp or anything like that, and he looked abysmal in that first preseason game. I don't know how they could justify keeping him around after that. It was bad enough that this guy who needs to prove himself only even got 6 snaps against the Bears. Now, he looked okay in those 6 snaps, but I think his fate's pretty much already sealed at this point. They got Cody Ford back there, so they don't even really need Carman anyway. So that opens up possibilities for the interior of the Bengals offensive line. Jackson Kirkland has had a good offseason so far, so I'd put him at that left guard spot, but really he's a guy who you can kind of swing and fill in anywhere. And then you got 7th round center who's gotten so much hype for a 7th round pick out of Miami, Ohio, Matt Lee. And he actually has had a really nice camp in preseason. He didn't play as much as you would have expected against the Bucs, but other than that, he's looked really good. But I wouldn't be shocked if they are grooming him to eventually take over for Karras. That allows the Bengals to move Trey Hill to be a backup guard, which frankly is where the Bengals have, when the Bengals actually play him in games, that's usually where they play him anyway, so I think that just is a natural fit for him. Finally, the tight end position is absolutely stacked this year. I think you got Drew Sample and Eric All there pretty clearly going to get the 2nd and 3rd spots, but I think that 4th spot is a battle between Tanner Hudson and Tanner McLaughlin, and I think Tanner Hudson gets it. Again, it's an experience thing, it's a versatility thing. Hudson is a surprisingly good offensive weapon, but a lot of people don't think about the fact that he's also a good blocker too. Plus, again, more experienced. I don't know if you can really sneak McLaughlin onto the practice squad with how good he looks, but if you can, he's basically getting protected every single week because he's a damn good player too. Having that much talent to choose from is a really good problem to have, but unfortunately it also requires a decision to be made eventually. I don't think you can keep both. Alright, so that's the offensive side of the ball. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll feature the best comments in my next video, like this one from Jeffy Likes Sports, who requested some training camp videos. Now, I've mentioned this on my channel before, but you may have missed it, Jeffy, or other people who are watching for the first time might have missed it. It was a crazy busy summer for me, and really ever since I started back school again, it's been crazy busy for me. So I just haven't had the time to dive into the channel, especially during the off season, as much as I would like. But I'm hoping that these 2 videos I'm putting out satisfy your request to some extent, right? So as with last year, I'm breaking this video up into 2 videos because it would take way too long to do both in the same videos. For now, just look forward to the defensive version of this video here in a few days. For now, though, I'll leave y'all, as always, with a hoo-day!